Welcome to Connect Church. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Dwayne Hawksworth, and I'm the lead pastor here at Connect in Waco. Today, we're in the third and final message of the series we're calling This Is What We Do. In our discussion today, we're discussing going from scarcity to abundance in our lives through generosity. Now, it's easy to tune this discussion out because you think you've heard it before, or that the person doing the talking is just after your money. So just so you know, I'm not going to ask you for a dime, so you're safe. And I'm not trying to get money from you. I'm trying to get money to you. What we're discussing has a very practical and powerful impact on our daily lives. Now, before we get started, let me invite you to get connected with us here at Connect Church, and perhaps even prayerfully and financially support what we're doing. To connect with us, all you need to do is take your cell phone and text the words Connect Church to 94,000. That's the words Connect Church to 94,000. When you do, you'll receive a link to both connect with us and to give if you'd like. You can also go to our website at connectwaco.com. To connect with us by mail, our mailing address is Connect Church, P.O. Box 4317, Waco, Texas 76715. There'll be a screen at the end of our time together with this information too. Thank you for joining us, for connecting with us, and for supporting what we're doing here at Connect Church in Waco. One last time, we're going to use the special song written and recorded by Life Church for this series. It fits this message series perfectly. We hope you enjoyed today's online celebration.
God so loved the world, He gave His only Son. Our debt of sin now paid in full. Oh, the cross has overcome. No matter what we face, no matter what the cost, with every single breath we take, we respond to your great love. We surrender in worship to the one who gave it all. With hands held open, we stand ready. It's what we do because of you. Open up our eyes, reveal your heart to us. Let us be known by what we do as we live for you alone. We surrender in worship to the one who gave it all. With hands held open, we stand ready. It's what we do because of you. Look at what you've done. Look at what you've done here. We're ready to respond. Respond to your love here. Look at what you've done. Look at what you've done here. We're ready to respond. Respond to your love here. Look at what you've done. Look at what you've done here. We're ready to respond. Respond to your love here. Look at what you've done. Look at what you've done here. We're ready to respond. Respond to your love here.
Today we're in the third and final week of a series we're calling This Is What We Do. We do what we do because we believe what we believe and because this is who we are. We've been discussing going from scarcity to abundance in our lives through generosity. It's easy to tune this discussion out because you think you've heard it before, that the person doing the talking is just after your money. As I said at the beginning, I'm not going to ask you for a dime so you're safe. I'm not trying to get money from you. I'm trying to get money to you. And what we're discussing has a very practical and powerful impact on our daily lives. I began learning what we're discussing when I was in my 20s, as newlyweds, new parents, and just started out in life. Money was tight, but discovering how to be generous radically changed our future. It will also change yours too. Let me give you an example of how this can benefit others, but also yourself. About this same time, I was serving as the associate pastor of a church. There was another young man that felt a call to ministry, but he didn't have a suit. And nowadays, many people don't wear suits to church, including the pastors and others who are serving in front of everyone. But back then, it was considered important, and it was very important to him. I didn't have the money to buy him a suit, but after a couple of years of being married, I had a really nice suit that I was no longer able to wear. We won't discuss why that was. We were about the same size, and I thought it might fit him perfectly. So I got the suit, a nice dress shirt, and a matching tie, and had the suit dry cleaned when everything was ready. I drove by his house one night, and thankfully he didn't lock his car. I hung these items in his car for him to find the next day. I didn't want any recognition. I just wanted to give him something that mattered to him. The next Sunday, he came into church beaming as he wore his brand new suit. I'm not sure who was blessed more, him in his new suit or the blessing I had watching him enjoy how it made him feel. Fast forward a few years to when I first came to pastor this church over 30 years ago. We were a small church with little money, and now I was the one in need of some clothes. One day I got a call from someone whose family member was getting rid of some clothes. They said their family member was about my size and wondered if I would like to have them. Of course, I said yes. They showed up. They brought me 4 huge yard bags filled with clothes. They were just my size, and some of them were brand new. What Jesus promised and his follower of Luke wrote down was very true for me. We can read it in the New Testament letter we know as the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6 and verse 8. Jesus said, "Give, and you will receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together to make room for more, running over and poured into your lap." The amount you give will determine the amount you get back. Here's an important thing for us to understand if you're a follower of Jesus. Don't miss this. We do not believe the church exists for us. We believe we are the church and we exist for the world. We have a partnership with Jesus in accomplishing his mission in the world. Instead of just planning to make the purchase, what if we as Jesus followers plan to make a bigger difference in this world with giving? We truly believe what Jesus said when he said, "It is truly more blessed to give than to receive." With that said, it's important to know that what we believe is proven by what we do. The Apostle James tells us about this truth in the New Testament letter we know by his name, James chapter 2, verses 14 through 17. Here's what James said about this. "What good is it, dear brothers and sisters, if you say you have faith, but don't show it by your actions? Can that kind of faith save anyone? Suppose you see a brother or sister who has no food or clothing, and you say, 'Goodbye and have a good day. Stay warm and eat well.' But then you don't give that person any food or clothing. What good does that do? So you see, faith by itself isn't enough. Unless it produces good deeds, it is dead and useless." When we truly believe and do life with Jesus, we partner with him in completing his mission and meeting needs we encounter in our daily lives. What James is saying is, if we truly believe, our faith will move us to action, not just words. What we believe is proven by what we do. As Jesus followers, we want to go and grow beyond where so many people live today, and that is with a scarcity mindset. Instead, we want to have an abundant heart of faith for our good God. If you were with us the first week, let me show you the cycles because scarcity is a cycle. We talked about with scarcity in your mindset, as soon as you receive something, we consume it. Then we spend everything that we have, and therefore we lack. Then we get afraid and we're living paycheck to paycheck. The cycle continues. I wish we could give more, but we can't. As Jesus followers, We don't serve a scarcity God, we serve an abundant God. Abundance is a cycle. When God gives to us, we return the first 10% back to Him. It's an act of worship because of His goodness, we tithe and we give. We believe as Jesus followers that God opens the windows of heaven and pours out blessings as we bless others. He multiplies. Then our faith grows, and what happens? We give even more, and we have a cycle of abundance because we serve a very good and a very powerful God. Everybody gives, but not everybody is generous. What I want for you today as Jesus followers is to grow and become abundant givers, reflecting the heart of an abundantly good God to be a blessing to people all over the world. Let's talk about 3 different ways that we as Jesus followers will faithfully give. The first way we do this, we give spontaneously. Jesus told a story that demonstrates living and giving spontaneously. The story is one we know as the Good Samaritan. If you're not familiar with this story, there was a Jewish man that was beaten up by thieves and left on the side of the road, bleeding and dying. A couple of religious guys walked by, saw the man, and continued on their way. They would certainly consider themselves to be believers, but they did nothing to help this man. Let me say that again. They were religious leaders. They would certainly say they were believers, but they gave nothing, they did nothing to help this man. Then, a Samaritan who was despised by the Jewish people and who would normally never ever interact with a Jewish person came by, saw the need, and spontaneously decided to help him. When the Samaritan woke up that morning, he didn't think, well, today I'm going to go out and do something great for someone. All he did say was, today I'm a servant of God, and if there's a need somewhere I can meet, I'm available and on call to meet it. He saw a need. He went up to the guy, put some oil on his wounds, bandaged him up, put him on his donkey, and took him to a hotel room, then paid the bill. The next day, before he continued on his way, he gave more money to the innkeeper and said, look after this man. When I return, I'll reimburse you for any extra expense you may have. How did this man live? He was available, on call, and spontaneously he saw a need and he met it. I want to encourage you to live and give like that as Jesus followers. He saw a need and he met that need. Unfortunately, this is where most people stop. If you only give spontaneously, you'll be very limited in what you can do to make a true difference. As Jesus followers, we not only give spontaneously, but the second way we do this is we also give strategically. We can do more and give more if you plan to give more. I love what the prophet Isaiah wrote in the Old Testament book of Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 8. He said, generous people plan to do what is generous, and they stand firm in their generosity. We plan to consume, but we as Jesus followers, we are not spiritual consumers, we're spiritual contributors. As Jesus followers, the first 10% of what comes in, we strategically, prayerfully, and out of a heart of worship return to God through the church. We don't give last, we give first. Why? Because we plan and put God first in every area of our lives. The third way we do this is we give sacrificially. We give spontaneously, we give strategically, and we give sacrificially. Mark told in the 12th chapter of his gospel about Jesus watching what people gave. He's sitting down, watching what they're doing, because just as with us, what they do there reflects what's in their hearts. In verse 42, we see something happen that immediately gets Jesus' attention. Then a poor widow came and dropped in 2 small coins. Call his disciples. Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I tell you the truth. This poor widow has given more than all the others who are making contributions, for they gave a tiny part of their surplus, but she, poor she is, has given everything she had to live on. What's interesting to me about this is that Jesus watched. Second and interesting to me is that he didn't stop her. Jesus did not rob her from the blessing of giving, and he celebrated her sacrificial gift. She's given more than anybody else. That's what we as Jesus followers do. Why? Because Jesus knew her generosity was opening the door for abundance in her life. This widow's gift wasn't taking anything from her. It was opening the door of blessing to her. Let me ask you, when was the last time that you have received a massive blessing from giving sacrificially? When was the last time you gave in such a way that you felt it and you loved that you gave up something to be a massive blessing to somebody else? This is what we do. We are Jesus followers. We give spontaneously, we give sacrificially, and we give strategically as we see God. So today, I'm going to ask you to be generous. If you're not, begin to develop generosity in your life. If you are generous, don't stop. Continue and grow your generosity. I'm going to ask you to give radically, generously to a church. I didn't say to our church, I said to a church. I'm also going to ask you to give generously and spontaneously to a need you encounter. When we do, we make the church better, we make our world better, and amazingly, we make ourselves better. When we give generously, we take an enormous step toward being more like Jesus.